Hello and welcome to the Current Affairs edition. I'm your host Gamechisa Mandida along with my colleagues Zelalem Yibeltal and Getinet Shenkute. Once again, welcome to our special edition focusing on the second UN Food System Summit to be held from 27 to 29 July 2025 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It's clear that over the past 6 years, under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's leadership, Ethiopia has actively pursued multidimensional prosperity, placing agriculture at the heart of its efforts to transform the national nutrition system. This has been achieved through strategic initiatives aimed at enhancing food security, promoting the production of diverse and nutritious foods, and strengthening multi-sectoral coordination for a resilient and inclusive food system. These efforts have significantly elevated Ethiopia's standing, especially following its recognition during the UN Food System Summit stock-taking moment held in Rome in 2023. Today, we'll discuss these and other related issues, so stay tuned. Zelalem and Getinet, welcome to our edition. UN Food System Summit 2025. And of course, Ethiopia's role as a host will be our main topic today. And so, if I start with Zelalem, would you tell us, why this UN Food System Summit +4 that is taking place in 2025 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, is significant?
I think it's pretty much important to say a few words about the food system itself and how the food system has been emboldened in the United Nations agenda, how it becomes important, how it becomes at the center in front of United Nations agenda. United Nations has introduced this approach of food system to member countries of the United Nations. First, the United Nations has conducted the Food System Summit in 2021. And of course, the food system was inaugurated in 2021. So the first summit was conducted in New York, United States of America. Of course, it was conducted virtually. So member countries of the United Nations, including Ethiopia, participated on this important global event. And from that time onwards, countries of the United Nations, including Ethiopia, are implementing the food system. So I think it's pretty much important to talk a little bit about how United Nations has brought this food system approach and strategy to member countries of the United Nations. So two things, two factors trigger United Nations to adopt the food system to member countries of the United Nations. First is the desire, the need to transform and change the way the world produce, consumes, and think about food itself. And the second factor that trigger food system is the United Nations evaluation. United Nations evaluate, assess how sustainable development goals are being implemented. There are like 17 sustainable development goals, and the United Nations assessed that those sustainable development goals were not on the right track. So the United Nations has come up with an idea, strategy, and approach to accelerate the implementation of sustainable development goals. There comes the food system.
Getinet, let me ask you why Ethiopia has been, selected or chosen to host, just this significant summit.
Thank you, Gamachi. So before we're going to discuss about why Ethiopia is selected to host this summit, it's important to add a few pointers on Zelalem's argument, especially why the United Nations has introduced, food system summit. Before it, it's important to see the current situation globally about food and related issues. Our globe is really facing unprecedented challenges about food system because of recurrent conflicts, climate change, especially extreme weather events, a growing population around the globe. So before 2021, the United Nations had made an assessment about the global food system, and it came up with a report that the global food system has to be transformed, and it's important. It is a critical time to end hunger and disease-related problems. Since then, the United Nations is pushing forward to member countries, to achieve this food system.
Well, I just would like to ask both of you. I think in this summit, climate is also one important matter to be entertained. Why do you think, climate is, something so important that needs to be, of course, entertained in this summit, Zelalem?
Yes, doing on climate is very much important to member countries of the United Nations, and I think that's why climate change has become the front and center of the upcoming United Nations Food System Summit. So climate change is important. Of course, Ethiopia has been doing very much on climate change, and Ethiopia has been selected to host the United Nations Food System Summit because of its tremendous achievement in terms of climate change. In particular, Ethiopian Prime Minister, His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, has launched in 2019 the Green Legacy Initiative. And over the past 5 years or so, Ethiopia has been able to plant like 40 billion seedlings. And, this is a massive achievement. No country has achieved this. Recently, I made an interview with Deputy United Nations Secretary General, His Excellency Dr. Alparov. And in our interview, he shared his idea that I have never seen a country that plants like Ethiopia. So Ethiopia's achievement is well recognized by international organizations, international public figures, and others. So Ethiopia's work, Ethiopia's achievement in climate change has enabled the country to be selected to host the upcoming United Nations Food System Summit. Of course, there are other factors that contribute for Ethiopia to get this prestigious opportunity of hosting the United Nations Food System Summit.
Okay, thank you, Zelalem. Getinet, what do you think, will be key themes, in the upcoming summit, like in terms of, climate resilient agriculture, nutrition and food security, food systems and conflict, digital and financial inclusion? Can you explain us, please?
Yeah, exactly. So, as you said earlier, climate change has become a pressing issue for the globe. It's has directly affecting the food production. Agriculture is declining from time to time because of a climate-induced impact in many parts of the world, especially the third world countries in Africa and in other third world continents. So that's why the United Nations is pressing really ensuring food security by creating a resilient agricultural system. And Ethiopia is, as I said earlier, in the forefront to achieve this. And for the last years, especially for the last 6 years, since Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed introduced, a multi-sectoral approach, especially in the agriculture sector, first mitigating the climate-induced impacts, which is the Green Legacy Initiative was introduced. And during this span of years, during the last 6 years, Ethiopia has, I must say that, tens of billions of tree seedlings across the country. That has directly resulted in a positive way, especially to improve food security. There are lots of tree seedlings has been planted, especially fruit-bearing trees like avocado and mango. Even they have brought a positive impact in the market and also helped the nation. And also another spheres of Ethiopian engagement, especially in summer irrigation, which is Ethiopia once a time had been importing hugely wheat production, purchasing 1 billion worth of wheat annually. So now Ethiopia has become a surplus producer of wheat. That is related with the government's policy and the homegrown policy rooted.
Ethiopia has in fact achieved a lot, tremendous success in terms of food sovereignty and food security. For much of its history, Ethiopia heavily rely on external assistance, external aid, foreign food aid for its domestic consumption. But nowadays, Ethiopia has been, producing surplus products, surplus agricultural products. We can see the example of wheat production, wheat revolution. Ethiopia has revolutionized the way it produces wheat, for example. Ethiopia has been able to export wheat product for the first time in its history. By the way, Ethiopia used to spend like $1 billion to import wheat from outside. But nowadays, Ethiopia is not importing wheat. That's a great, massive success, isn't it? And Ethiopia instead is exporting wheat for the outside world. And this is very much documented and recognized by international organizations. For example, in 2023, Ethiopia received award from Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, of the United Nations. Ethiopian Prime Minister, His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, received Agricola Award, and that's due to Ethiopia's tremendous success in agricultural products, in productivity, in particular in wheat production. So Ethiopia's success in food sovereignty and food security is well recognized, not only by international organizations, but also by international public figures. For example, one of the richest person in the planet, Bill Gates, the famous billionaire and philanthropist, he was here in Ethiopia, yes, and he paid visit to Ethiopia's agricultural productions, and he has witnessed Ethiopia's tremendous growth in terms of achieving sustainable development goals. The president of African Development Bank, Adesina, also said that Ethiopia has achieved enormous result, positive outcome in green legacy, in food production, in agricultural productivity, in particular in wheat production. So Ethiopia's achievement in food sovereignty, Ethiopia's achievement in food security is well recognized by international organizations as well. It's
yes,
not
Zelalem,
a fact.
Yeah.
That,
you remind me of one term that has been, just going back and forth, which is, from the farm to the fork.
Yeah.
This saying in a recent panel that was held by high-ranking government officials here at the headquarters of ENA. Recently, this has been, discussed very well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that, Ethiopia has really brought in great success regarding wheat production, especially, in its efforts, to become self-reliant in wheat. Of course, we know, as you mentioned, Ethiopia has, begun exporting, food produces, to neighboring countries, to other countries. Now, this shows that there has been, a tremendous success regarding this, and Ethiopia has taken measures in the agricultural sector, especially right after, the coming of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to office. But there is, one challenge that we cannot avoid, which is, everyone is not satisfied with the share from this produce. I mean, we have, for example, high prices of food items in the country. So it shows that even though you might have, surplus produces, it doesn't mean that, that you're successful. You successfully have managed, just to reach citizens with their food needs.
Exactly.
So the concept of from the farm to the fork, needs to the fork,
an
from
important
the farm
idea.
To the fork, needs to be explained very well. And what do we mean by that? Getting it? Could you say something on this?
Exactly. From farm to fork is a very important concept. Even at the level of the United Nations, and Ethiopia is really practicing this concept. For instance, we have some initiatives. You can take, Bounty of the Basket, which is a very important initiative, which here again, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed initiated just 3 years ago, and really bearing fruit and bringing a tangible result in this case. Of course, we have still inflation crisis and so many challenges in the country, but in terms of inflation, we have a backdrop. We have a problem before, and that inflation has still impacting the nation. But the government is trying and exerting a maximum effort to avoid these challenges by these initiatives. So It's very expected. It's highly optimism that Ethiopia will avoid this problem in the coming years following this initiative, and as they are starting to bearing fruits. So I would say by far, it's 6 years is a very short time. In the last 6 years, the country has really registered unprecedented results. Starting from 2021, the country has been implementing, its own food system policy, which is really bringing so many stakeholders, including Minister of Health, Minister of Agriculture, and even the private sector. So the country is really, registering tangible results, and the world is witnessing this, and that's why the United Nations recognized it and bring it's one of the highest level panel or conference to be organized here in Addis Ababa, and we are expecting a lot from this summit.
Yeah, Gamech, sorry for interruption.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, allow me to say a few words about farm to fork.
Yes.
You have been talking about this super important idea,
yes.
farm to fork. Of course, it is a central point in food system, and for those who are not familiar with the food system, I think it's important to say a few words about it.
Please say,
Yeah, thank you. So food system is an integrated approach that go, like you said, from farm to fork. It's not only about farm, it's not only about eating. So it all starts from production, food system starts from production. We need to produce, might be crop, might be livestock, might be any other thing. We need to produce first for food system to apply. So we need to produce first. For instance, we produce wheat, for example, let's say. So that wheat needs to be processed. So the next step is processing. We need to process that produced food, that produced crop or livestock. So let's say in our case, we produce wheat, and then we have to process that. So we might process that product to bread, or might be to biscuit, or to any other output. Then once we process, and then there is a distribution stage. We need to distribute. We need to travel and transport those products to the supermarket, to the store, or to mini store, or to any other marketplace. And that distributed product has to be purchased by consumers. And then comes the consumption stage. So the food system is an integrated approach that goes through farm to fork. So it's an integrated approach, and of course it is successful. The United Nations has introduced this approach of food system because the United Nations believes that if we do a lot, if we are successful in food system, we can impact the other 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are to end in 2030. So food system goes like this.
Exactly, Zelalem. Well, let me add to what you've said, which is, firstly, we need to produce, in a way that is surplus. There must be, a surplus production of, just crops, food items. And the next thing is, we need to build the proper infrastructure. For example, you need to distribute, just what you have produced. And of course, you need, mechanized transportation system, farming system, okay? You have also, in between, stakeholders or actors. So the farmer is at one point, and of course, the eaters or the users of, just that produce are at the other end. And in between, there are many things. There are many actors. And these must be, integrated. The infrastructure must be built, okay? And the people there need to play their roles. As you said, once, you have produced, surplus produces, it doesn't mean that, you have secured food sovereignty in Ethiopia, for example, unless and otherwise, just that produce, reaches the people in general. And so to succeed in that, you need to do what is in between. Okay, you need to engage in building, just that system. And so this requires, to go far away from what has been done in a way that is traditional. So, Getinet, what do you think Ethiopia should do to be successful in transforming its food system in general?
Okay, still we have facing challenges in terms of food system, ensuring and feeding our entire population. Of course, we have a success stories for the last 6 years, so we have still long way to achieve and to go. Recently the country has started some initiative which is remarkable, as we discussed earlier. So the country should reinforce its activity, especially in the agriculture sector. For instance, you mentioned earlier, in building infrastructures to reduce, the harvest loss or some related impacts. It is important to facilitate the food chain. So we still require a huge investment for this sector. For instance, during the last 3 or 4 years, we have started, mechanization in our wheat production and other agricultural activities, but we need more mechanization and infrastructure also. So recently the country is receiving significant amount of support, financial support in terms of credit, and also financial assistance from the World Bank and IMF. So the country is really still committed, I think, to expand its infrastructure and facilitate its agricultural activity. So the activity at this time in the moment that Ethiopia is achieving a huge impact requires global support also. Food sovereignty is a lot. It's a matter of your policy. It's a matter of your survival and even your security in general. So the country is already embarking on this. There are lots of initiatives across the country being implemented. So what requires is it needs still a global support, both technical and financial.
It does. As I just come to Zelalem, and of course, food sovereignty means a lot. It means everything.
Yeah.
And there is no place where it doesn't translate into. Yeah. So if we take school feeding programs, it has huge impacts on the nation in general, because if you're not able to feed your youth properly, then your country just cannot stand strong for endeavors such as development and for its survival and anything else that has to do with the country. You need to produce in a way that is surplus, so that you'll be able to feed them sustainably. And the feeding program just will not be interrupted. If we rely on just the market, we cannot feed them well. What do you say on this?
Yes, I believe that school feeding is very much crucial for the success of students. You can't learn while you are hungry. There is one saying that goes like, hungry stomach has no mind.
Yes, hungry stomach, yeah.
Yeah, if you are hungry, if you are starved,
you
can't think and you can't learn and you can't grasp and understand the lectures that you are taking. So it's very much crucial to feed students in their school. So this will align with the future ambition of the country. If you do not do well in students in school, you can't expect a good generation for the future. So the future of Ethiopia resembles today's work in students. So we need to work very hard to make sure that students get enough food while they are learning. So school feeding is very much important initiative, as I think. And of course, Ethiopia has been implementing school feeding over the past couple of years.
Yes.
Even in the city, in the capital city of the country, Addis Ababa, the government has been able to, practice school feeding for 7 million students. This is a good news for us. So school feeding needs to be strengthened. School feeding is not something that we practice because we are poor.
I would like you to tell us, the role of media in transforming the food system in Ethiopia and, of course, elsewhere. Especially, of course, professionals, media professionals say that Ethiopian media have not played, proper roles in bringing about the kind of change or transformation we need, in the agriculture sector in general, or in the food system in general. So what do you say on this?
Yeah, the role of media is actually immense, especially to educate the society and also even shows the direction where the government go to, how the policy is being implemented, and how the problem is on the ground going on. And so it's unfortunate our media have not really playing a significant role in this regard. It's beyond informing the society. It has to show the direction, how the problem is going on, and what kind of intervention it requires.
Zelalem, I think just let me ask you what to expect in this summit.
Yeah, we expect lots of good things from the summit. The first is, it will be an awesome opportunity for Ethiopia to showcase its achievement in terms of food security and food sovereignty. No doubt, Ethiopia has achieved tremendous success in terms of food sovereignty, food security, green legacy, and other development initiatives. So it will be quite an important opportunity for the country to showcase its achievement. And it will also be an opportunity, an awesome platform for Ethiopia to take lessons from developed worlds, from those countries, from member states of the United Nations that achieved success in food sovereignty, in food security, in food system as well. So it will be a platform, an opportunity for the country to showcase its achievement, and in the same way it will be an opportunity for Ethiopia to take lessons, important lessons from countries. It's expected that thousands of participants will come to Addis Ababa and will participate on the second United Nations Food System Summit, which will be held in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, from the 27th of July to 29th of July. So Ethiopia will get an opportunity to take lessons from experts, from government officials, and from stakeholders, from development partners as well. So it will be quite an opportunity for Ethiopia and for other participants as well.
Yeah, one important thing that allows us, to be successful in transforming Ethiopia's food system in general is the integration of efforts from various stakeholders. This is not something that can be, accomplished by the government or governmental institutions, but many others, for example, the private sector, need to engage in this endeavor. Yeah. So, especially the media, anything that has to do with the agriculture sector, the private sector, we all need to converge and show the hate, the disgust we have, for food insecurity. Yeah. And a collaborated effort should be, put on succeeding in transforming the food system in Ethiopia, and of course across the globe as well. So, what message do you have, just for everyone?
Yeah, for everyone. In particular for media professionals like us, we media professionals, I do believe, have a great responsibility and expectation in terms of showcasing, in terms of displaying the facts of Ethiopia. Ethiopia was considered by the outside world as a country heavily reliant, dependent on food assistance, food aid, incapable of satisfying the demands of its people and all that. So media, has a great power. Media is like a double-edged sword. I mean, if you utilize the media for positive purpose, we can definitely use media to sell the facts of Ethiopia to the outside world. With the media professionals, university professors, institutions, development partners, private sectors, governments, we all need to work hand in hand to move the country to the next level of development and prosperity.
Yes, Zelalem, I'm afraid almost time is up, and we need to wrap today's edition right here. Thank you, both of you. Viewers, today's edition ends right here, and next time we'll come up with a new one. Until then, goodbye.